All right. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, there was no audio because that was my pre-show ranting at Kelin.
We knew there was no audio.
Any lip readers in here? You caught the F-bombs, a couple of them, and whatever. So
yeah, you know, like when you're watching the news on TV, and before there's anything, you see the two like newscasters talking to each other. That was
us.
Yeah.
See, that was our new intro where you get to see me just freaking go ballistic. I'm ballistic-y today.
I fired you up.
Oh, you so did.
I did. But before that discussion, we were talking about something pretty important.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty nervous about.
Yeah.
This charity softball game.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it first?
Go for it.
Okay, so if anyone has not heard, you guys may have heard already, we are playing in a charity softball game on August 16th. Two well-known people are teaming up. I can't remember the foundation's name. Do you remember the foundation's name?
No.
It's a good cause, but Ray Boom Boom Mancini is heading one team and Kelly Pavlik is heading another. I was on Mancini's team, but apparently I've been traded already. And now I'm on Pavlik's team with you. And so I was telling Joe, I'm a little nervous. I even practiced a little over the weekend, and he made fun of me for that. But I am rusty. I've not even touched a softball since I was a kid.
Listen, this is the point. They pick media personalities to play in these games because none of them are professionals. All right. It's not like you have to be good at it. Half of our team is going to be drunk while they're playing. Okay. So, and this is already a girls' game. So advantage slides to the women on our team anyway, because we're just not used to the slow pitch. Like slow pitch is harder.
It
right?
is.
Yes. Right.
I don't know why it is, but it is.
Because it's your brain capacity is supposed to be able to process things in fast pace, running fast pace, shooting fast pace, pitching fast pace. And with slowing things down for, a certain speed, right? It messes with the calibration of people who are good at things and allows people who are not good at things to be better than the people who are good at things. That's just the nature of why slow pitch softball is more allocated for women's sports, because they're just have a benefit in it.
I'm a woman. Right. I don't have a benefit in it.
You have a benefit in it.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was hitting and I started off real bad, but then I kind of found my footing and it wasn't so bad. And I was hitting fairly well. But as far as fielding, I'm nervous about. Yeah. Like, I'm like, people can struggle up at bat. Everyone's going to struggle at bat.
It's fun to watch.
But the fielding,
as people who don't typically play softball on weekends play a game, and the badness is its charm.
Yeah. Like when you run to base and you don't realize how exhausting that is, when I'm like, because I ran to first base.
All right, listen. When you were on the other team, I knew that they were going to be effed. Now that you join our team, I'm like, how do I mitigate the challenges in having an unathletic person just joining us? Like,
would you say you are athletic?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm the only unathletic one on the team?
No, there's going to be many. Like, I don't know our full roster. The people that I know, I've played with Luke before, and he's athletic as well. He's got the body mass to be able to put up some numbers. I've got the speed if I don't hurt my quad. Like, did I ever tell that? Did I tell you that story?
You mentioned like you hit it and you went to run or something.
Yeah, I did a full sprint. Like when I was playing baseball, like when you hit the ball, like I'm a single hitter, right? And so I hit the gaps in the outfield and try to outrun them, or an infield and try to outrun them to first, which means you got to do a full out sprint. Yeah. Well, I didn't warm up. I'm just like, I got this, right? And I hit it and I started to sprint and I pulled something in my quad and I was down for the count.
That's such a me thing to do. Like, I am going to be stretching. I got to warm up. Like, that is my biggest fear, is I'm going to hurt myself doing the simplest thing, and I'm going to look dumb.
What you need to do is on your street in front of your house, just run a couple 100-meter dashes and try to do that a couple times per day. Loosen up the tendons, make sure your knees can handle, and find out your speed where you start feeling unstable. And that's going to be your sprint speed. And then before you go out there, you got to warm up and stretch and whatever. Like, older people have to do more than younger people. They just can't go into action, and you got to do all the preparation. So that's my recommendation to you. Don't do anything stupid, right? It's slow pitch. So like there's like 3 chances to hit the ball. You'll get one of them. You got a 33% chance of getting on base, right? Or at least hitting the ball. Then can you, after you worry about hitting the ball a bunch of times, can you place the ball? Do you know, like, I want to hit it in the infield. I want to hit it really deep. I want to hit it in the gap.
No.
So now you're going to work on your aims. And if you intend, like, where do you put your feet? If you wanted to put it in the left field, you draw your left foot back a little bit and your toes, right? When they're lined up, like, think of your toes when you're standing, put a yardstick in front of them. And wherever your feet are pointing is where you're likely to hit the ball. That is if you make solid contact right out in front of you.
If you make contact.
Right. But that's again, we're lining up what you need to prepare. You've got to time it so that you're hitting it over the plate, not getting ahead of it where you might pull it to the left, or hitting behind it where you're pushing it to the right. You want to make sure that you're being patient, waiting for the ball to come over the plate and making solid contact with hands fully extended. And then it will go wherever your toes are pointing.
Yeah. Don't swing at everything.
Do not swing at everything. No, you don't.
I'd made that mistake over the weekend. I was swinging at things I should not have been swinging
at. But hopefully the designated pitcher is going to be good at, finding the plate, and the umpires are going to be fair, or else there's going to be a freaking riot. I'm not opposed at a charity deal to clear the benches and to take on the umpires or the other team.
You're going to get kicked out. The umpire's going to be like, you're out of here. I'll tell you though, like, it was an eye opener this weekend. Friday night, we went for a bike ride. And I'm not saying we're like on trails or anything. I mean a neighborhood, a paved road neighborhood. We rode our bikes for a little bit, and then we went for a walk. And then Saturday, we went roller skating for 2 hours. And by then, I am not kidding when I said everything hurt. My back was tight. My legs were tight. My knees were screaming. Then we went and played softball after dinner. And I'm like, I laid there Saturday night, like, oh my God, I am so screwed.
Yeah.
I am so screwed. Bike, roller skate, softball in 2 days. My back was hurting. My legs were hurting.
Okay. So if you did that same thing every weekend for 52 consecutive weeks, do you think if I talked to you, you'd be sore?
Nah, I'd probably be a beast.
Okay. Yeah. So why would you ever stop doing that if you knew that you were challenging your body and creating frictions that were creating health?
I mean, after that, I was like, I gotta do this more often.
Absolutely. That is it. Because most people would say, I'm not going to do that anymore. And they'd bow out of the things they need to do to stay healthy.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten a real eye opener since October. October is when I started consistently. I'd done it before, but consistently lifting with dumbbells and weights. And like, to me, I thought like 10-pound dumbbells that's kind of where I live. It's not a lot, but it's me. And maybe I'll go to 12 or 15 if I'm feeling froggy that day. Now, like, that's nothing. Like, I don't even need to own 10-pound dumbbells. And it's like, look how I can do like your 30 body, on a row
that's
now.
Your whole job is to get your body to compensate. Right.
Yeah.
And recalibrate by giving it harder than it's supposed to be until it figures it out and makes the hard thing easy, and then ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of that, you don't want to do too much that causes damage. If you create too much friction, you're not building and making strong. You're actually hurting and creating injury. You don't want to do that part. So I would rather someone pick up a 5-pound weight that's easy for them and do 1,000 reps of that thing than to pick up a 50-pound weight, do it 5 times, and hurt their arm every single time.
Yeah, because you injure yourself, you're gonna have that injury for a while.
Yeah, it takes the body a little longer to heal as you get older.
And like, this is a dumb thing to worry about, but I'm worried about it. Maybe it's because I'm a girl, but I'm going to tell you why I'm worried about it. I'm worried about what footwear I'm going to wear, the shoes,
right?
Because the field we were practicing on, I don't know if it's anything like what Eastwood Field is going to be. Probably not, but it was a lot of like fine gravel, almost rocks and dirt. And when I was trying to run the bases, it was very slippery. Now, I also had very old shoes on where I'm sure the traction is far worn off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I want tennis shoes with good traction? They said we could wear cleats, but I don't own a pair of cleats. Do I want to go buy cleats, or do I just want my newer tennis shoes? What do you wear so that you can like
Well,
run and
most
not
people
fall.
will show up in basketball shoes, and basketball shoes like to grip wood, like solid surfaces.
Yeah.
And they show up in basketball shoes, and in the grass they run slow, and they on the dirt things are slippery, and that doesn't work out. So yes, you have to wear the appropriate apparel. My go-to, like I have cleats, but I won't really wear them because I don't know if I'm going to be in the infield or the outfield. When I played baseball, it was cleats that wanted to create distance between the top of the grass and where my foot was, so I could run as fast as I could across that surface. If I was an infielder, I would have stud cleats that would just get into the ground a little bit with the the dirt. And here I could be either one here, so I'm going to wear some. I have hiking shoes that basically are tennis shoes, but they have a little rubber cleats that are kind of wide. So either way, I get a little bit of an advantage, and it could do either thing. So that's my go-to, some hiking shoes.
I'm so screwed.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. Like we'll place you, even if it's Water Boy or Water Girl in this case.
The mascot.
You will be part of the team.
And like you said, like, I mean, and people can comment. Let me know what you actually truly think. Do you want to go to a game and have it actually be people playing well?
No.
Or do you want it to be like entertaining and blunders
and even if it's at your expense, the embarrassment is very entertaining.
Yeah.
The more you fall, the more legs you break, like the more the audience is going to be drawn.
The more I try to throw and it goes nowhere.
Yeah, like 2 foot in front of you.
Yeah.
It's hugely entertainment.
Yeah.
So do it on purpose. And that way, when you do it, you can say you purposely did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, well, I can't actually be good.
I was the comic relief.
Yeah.
That was my job.
What a boring show if we come out, we're better than the scrappers that they're going to watch.
For sure.
We can't do the scrappers like that.
All right, what's going on nationally? Or are there any other topics other than your prowess at softball?
I think that was it. Just how my whole body hurts, and I got up the cardio big time by the 16th.
Got nothing.
I don't think so. I saw another dead animal in the road. Had me in my feelings.
I don't want to talk about your dead animals.
It happens.
Do you see all the natural disasters that are all happening right now? I do have to paint these parallels, right? We have earthquakes, hurricanes, and volcanoes that are now all of a sudden becoming very active. New York had an earthquake on Saturday. Did you see about that one? 3.3?
No.
Outside of New York City and New Jersey.
It must have been roller skating.
In Russia, a massive volcano erupted. Last week, a earthquake also off the coast of Russia that created the tsunami for the West Coast and Puerto Rico, or not Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska, all this.
I have heard of some of those, yeah.
So my son and I have been tracking this over the last 3 years, since 2002. And how geologically the Earth is becoming very active with what it's about to do to the human beings.
Oh, God.
And my belief is that we are going to become very active. I'm not saying that it's going to be super volcano where it's a humanity ender extinction event or anything like that. But as you're seeing, when the Earth gets in this active state, you see almost every week, every day, something happening somewhere that is a earth flex, letting them know that it's really in charge and not us.
Yeah. Like, keep in mind, this thing is far more powerful than we are, and we need to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah. So if we get into that, where it's every couple days something major happens, you have to make preparations. You really do. And if you live in a dystopian world where civilization falls apart, you get two choices. Either you want to die quickly early on in the deal, or be strong enough to survive long term. That's really only your two choices. It's not like you're going to say, hey, Mr. Volcano in Yellowstone, how about not erupting even though you're overdue by 60,000 years? All right. Yeah. When it happens, you're like, okay, I wake up one day, I turn on the news, and the news says, oh, Yellowstone erupted and just basically melted about, 50 million people of the population of the West Coast. And currently there's, more than that are currently suffocating from the ash that's raining down on them. People on the East Coast, you haven't been affected at this point, but it's heading your direction. And then you're like, okay, well, I got about 4 days to figure out how to make sure that I live longer than I'm supposed to, or I'm going to stand outside and watch the wave come in and just die off sooner.
quickly.
That's really only your two options. Live a little bit longer, probably not for long, or die immediately. So where are you at?
Oh, God.
You want to die immediately, or do you want to live a little bit?
I feel like my gut instinct is I want to live a little bit.
Okay.
They both sound terrifying.
Well, when civilization disappears, everything that your life is predicated on is gone. Relationships are gone. Neighborhood is gone. City's gone. State's gone. Food's gone. Water's gone. Electricity's gone. Think Kelin goes camping amongst everybody who's trying to take her shit. That's what life is going to be, defending against not the nature of what's coming, but the people that all of a sudden have bought out of the rule book that keeps you safe on a day-to-day basis. So if Kelin has something that is of value, somebody knows that Kelin has that. Person kills Kelin, takes what Kelin has, and now they get to live an extra day where you were living an extra day once you had that. Once that person finds out, you're done. And think like we have a contingency plan where we have 8 families that have pooled everything together, and not like an if when this happens, exactly what we're going to do on hour 1. Where we're going to go, what we're going to have, how we're going to defend against ourselves. And we're prepping for that inevitability.
Do you have like an actual metal, like bomb shelter?
Not a bomb shelter now.
Panic room type
not
thing?
Necessary. Bomb shelter is not going to be necessary in this. Because if you look at the acreage of the United States, most of it is unoccupied. All you have to do is find an unoccupied plot that people are not like. Every once in a while you're going to get a wander. So Bob Smith is trying to make his way through the woods, escaping the hordes of people who crushed his family and took all of his belongings, and he wanders into our thing. We have to shoot him quick to make sure that he's off, put him in his little decay bunk or decay hole, and then that's it. That one doesn't scare me. It's when hordes start, right? Like day 1 is not going to be as scary as day 30. Day 30 is when normal resources start dwindling. And then regular, reasonable people are really staring down death in the face, and they've got kids and they've got family, and now they have to migrate to find resources to live another day. And when they wander up to you and you having lots of prepared resources, they're going to have to go away, right? Because, I mean, either they're going to add to your little encampment, right? Remember, they didn't do any planning. They weren't part of your deal. All they want is your shit. If they have not much to offer, like I'm not going to hesitate with Bob because Bob served his time. He can go. Bob's kids, I'm going to hesitate a little bit more by young people going into the decay hole because they got some life ahead of them. I mean, probably not much,
maybe 2 weeks,
but they can't add much to anything. They're just going to eat your food. They're not going to pose any kind of threat, but they can't do much. They can't add to your survival. So all they're going to be is like, do I feel like being a humanitarian and looking out for other people when I've got like 26 days to die myself? I'd probably find them in the decay hole. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm going to have to.
Like, do you think you could slowly but consistently kill people?
Yes.
Until you are the last one left.
I could.
Knowing it's gonna end eventually. You can't live forever in this environment.
So you go through these hypotheticals. You put today's brain in like that scenario's brain, and everything changes. It is not about servicing community and being a participant. It's about living. And every other person out there has self-interest. And I've watched enough Walking Dead to know that it's not the zombies that are the villain in this. It's the other people. So I'm looking out for the people who are going to we have a perfect plan that has all of the reason and logic that will allow us to survive as long as possible under that.
You and 8 families.
8 families, yeah.
And you don't think they are going to ever turn on you?
No, we would not allow a family in that group if I didn't know that they were trustworthy and dependable.
What happens when it comes down to just you all?
Then we live it out the rest of our time, because on the scenario of volcanic or civilization disruption, you have a very finite amount of days too. So we will just live them out until the food runs out, and in the volcano deal, like there's going to be a cloud of ash and sulfur that visits you and chokes you out, and you die anyway. So you've got like 7 days for volcano. If you got civilization disruption where civilizations and governments and law enforcement, whatever, goes away, now you've got as much time as the next horde that comes through kills you and takes your shit. So that's the best case scenario is civilization. The worst case is natural disaster.
But you're all 8 families, you're just going to die at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll never turn on each other.
We're not going to turn on each other.
You're sure?
We've done enough rehearsals to know that these people...
But you just said the brain now is not the same brain when you're in the thick of it.
But when you rehearse it, it's like when your house is on fire, right? And you're trying to escape, your brain changes because it's just going into primitive mode of flight, right? But if you've rehearsed the fire and you put the ladder in the window and you've curled it up, you've done it 1,000 times with these people, pretending like there was a fire, and you know exactly what each other would do.
You and 8 families have rehearsed this?
Yes.
Literally.
Let's see if we can do X. Like, let's pretend like we don't have access to water and what we would do. And we got life straws and we got filtration systems and, we got water, but we're going to pretend we don't to see how we would do if drinkable water was not on the menu anymore. And we go through these little scenarios, which is fun. And then we take our paintball guns and say, hey, we're in the woods and you got a bunch of marauders that are coming through. Can we take them out? Can you survive and win? And having strategies about teamwork to make sure that you eliminate them and they don't get to eliminate many of you.
You play Hunger Games on your weekends.
Yeah. We don't take vacations. We take preparations.
Wow. You guys are fun. You're a fun group.
For sure. It's amazing. Like,
it would be fun, but also scary.
There are instincts that we are built with that we don't get to use when we trust in civilization, that when you go to that primitive level, like, you really get to know yourself and what you're capable of.
If it came down to you and a kid,
in my group or outside the group?
In the group.
In the group, the kid lives.
Yeah. So you would say,
I will treat in group because they've got everything invested. They're following the same rule book. We all know the principles of what the purpose of the group is. The kid does come first. Yeah.
What about you or a kid that was an outsider?
Outsiders in the decay hole.
Even a kid?
I would.
You would off the kid.
There are not easy contemplations in this. There's a lot of moral conflicts. But, when you go through the hypotheticals, like so let's just say a kid comes along and they're really good at water filtration or building fires or building infrastructure. Well, that kid, if you've got something to trade for the cost of resources, then I would definitely entertain it. But if it's just some nutty kid who's complaining about they can't play video games anymore, and
you're like, this kid was annoying.
And where's my applesauce? And he's going into the decay hole.
I could see that. It would have to be, like a sweet, innocent child willing to help. I'll do anything. If it's just a little brat, easy. Yeah,
there's in our I can't give too much away, but in our little camp, that there's a quarantine area that new people have to go into in order to prove out that they're trustworthy and they're competent, or else they'd never get to the actual camp. And I think that's where the Walking Dead went wrong, was when newcomers would come in, they would say, hey, I've been running away from my blah, 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 and my kid died. And they appeal all this emotional stuff. And in this encampment, emotions matter zero whatsoever. Your story doesn't matter. What you can give to the camp is all that matters, whether you can be trusted and whether you can do stuff. And so in our little quarantine area, you put stuff that challenges whether or not you can actually do stuff. And if you're a worthless person, then there's a door that goes right to the decay pit and you don't get to come into the main camp.
But when you're doing these training exercises, they you all are still very much aware that it's not real, that you're playing. Do you think they would still make the same decisions and moves if it were real?
We are all intelligent enough that we are to know that we are trying to elicit some kind of primitive instinct and test it to see how we would react.
Are some of them trying to get you to trust them? I'm part of the 80. Trust me. Look how trustworthy I am. When really they're like, this is a law of probabilities. This is not a assured thing. It gives you a higher percentage chance than someone who did nothing. Like the dude that made no preparation is effed, right? Mm-hmm. And the people who made some preparation is effed plus 10.
right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as 100. It's going to suck in all other ways. So could there be a saboteur in our group? Sure. Could we run out of food? Sure. It doesn't matter. We're still above everybody else who did nothing.
At least
and that's
you tried
the goal.
something.
That's the goal. Yeah. But there's no magic pill on this. It's not like you get to dystopian apocalypse and have all the advantage and have a certainty of survival. It's just a percentage above everybody else. So if there's a bear and they're chasing a group of 5 of you, do you have to be, the perfect survivalist? Give me the answer. It's cliche.
No, you just got to outrun them.
That's it. So all you have to do is be better than the people than you're around. And it gives you, doesn't mean that the bear's not going to come around for seconds, right?
Yeah.
We'll get to that as we go down the road. It's the whole goal with preparation is to give a margin of percentage advantage.
Well, Jerry says, Joe, I am really questioning the mentality of trying to figure out how to be the last person alive. I just think we all will die eventually, but to try and figure out so many hypothetical situations and what you would do is almost a psychological issue. I say use this as a pilot for a show to make money and enjoy. And half of you have to understand that they will not live to see a hypothetical thing happen.
Well, but that's sort of like, it's sort of presuming certain things. Like if you came to my camp and said, hey, for the first couple of days, I'm going to help, plant the garden, and then I want out, right? You're assuming that everybody wants to live the full distance versus make your contribution and bowing out or something like that. So there are a lot of psychological factors. And when I take everybody that's part of our camp, I know what the advantage of having them in the group is. And I know when they're just like, I know when I'm going to be out of this. Nobody in that group wants to live forever. The goal isn't for perpetual existence. It's I want to give my contribution, help the group. And then if I'm around, cool. But if I get injured and I'm a tax on the group, take me out kind of thing.
What is the point of living just a little bit longer?
I don't know. That's probably the crux of most of our conversations is, if there's hope that the civilization will rebuild. So for instance, if let's just say the Earth gets hit with an asteroid and it darkens the skies, there's no heat, only 100 people are going to survive. You want to survive because you think that if you were to repopulate the rest of the planet, that you have something to add to it. You have an intelligence, you have a function of some way, where if you died, then the new version would be minus you, and that wouldn't be good for the population in the future. Now, if it's no hope, no existence, then you're only staying around for shits and giggles. If there's an inevitability you're going to live 30 days, maybe I would stay around to protect my wife and kid. And then once they're gone, that's all I was here for, is to make sure that people who depended on me can continue depending on me. And that's it.
Yeah.
I've served my purpose.
So really it's hope that
Sure.
no matter how bad it seems, something might change.
Something might change.
Part of me is I would have hope that even if the last of the last die, what if something else comes around? And in those final days, I would want someone writing and recording. And maybe those written works don't get destroyed. Sure. And years later, some other form is able to find it. And there's this historical documentation that would be super cool.
Yeah. So
not cool that we all died, but
if you had cancer and there was no cure for what you had, and the doctor gave you 2 weeks to live, right?
Yeah.
And then I came along and said, I can throw you down in a cryogenic machine and freeze you. And then maybe sometime in the future that there's a cure for what you have. You just have to not exist for a number of years. Now you have to consider you not existing and then never finding cancer, and you effectively have died, right? Because they're never going to wake you up because there's never going to be a cure for it. Versus staying alive, and maybe in the next week that your doctor was wrong and they did come up with a medication and there was a cure. Now you have real choices, and neither of them are good. Neither one of them.
Yeah.
But it's just the chances that it's better than the outcome that you fear the most, which is everybody dies. There's no, it's all extinction. There's nobody. Where would you want to be in that line? If everybody's going to die anyway, and it's just a matter of 30 days, and towards the end of your life, you're going to suffer more than if you went out today, would you go out on your own terms? That's the game that you play.
As if I didn't have enough anxiety in my life.
Right.
This is what I'm going to contemplate now.
The end of the world?
Yeah, like the dying, the carnage, the could I kill someone, the could I watch my loved ones.
There would be a lot of people that would rise to the occasion, though. They really would, because their lives are kind of boring. They don't do much. And if you give them a button to just go out there and be primitive, they would fully take advantage of it and see what they got.
Why don't you go on Naked and Afraid? You ever watch Naked and Afraid?
No, it's too contrived. There would be nothing in it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, number one, it's all scripted because it's reality TV, and there's no such thing as you just going out there and performing. It's the performances handed to you.
Meanwhile, there's a cameraman with you.
Yeah. And number two, you're naked. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I am not packing. So it would not be good TV. All right. I would
blur it out.
But it doesn't matter. I would know. And every day it would remind me that I'm less a survivor than I should be.
Yeah, the naked part gets me. Mainly because not just the embarrassment and the mental being uncomfortable, but like the bugs. The bugs take people out more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
More than injuries, starvations, anything is the bugs. And like things crawling in and then I always wondered too, like how bad they must smell.
Mm-hmm.
Those things.
Yeah, it's not for me. The upside, there's no upside to it. It wouldn't, even if I won, I know the whole thing was so concocted. I'd still have, questions whether or not in a real version of that, if I would be any good at it. I would just go, like, it would be so much better. Our group does these hikes that have no conveniences. Right. All you get is a backpack and you go out for a week and you sleep wherever you can find. You eat whatever you can find. You drink whatever you can find.
Naked and Afraid.
Use the bathroom however you can find. And all you get to take with you is on your back. And so you're taking toothpaste and you're weighing it so that it only is 2 ounces, because any stuff you put on your back means less hike trail and more sores on your feet that you get.
Yeah.
So the contemplation of survival changes when you have that kind of a limitation. I know a couple of people. In fact, there's a couple of people here locally who are doing like the Appalachian Trail, right? They do a month where they just put a backpack up and they go an entire month just with what they can carry on their back. There's one guy who's doing a walk across the United States where he's doing the same thing, where he's going to camp at night. So it's effectively, a 2,500 mile hike.
I think I've seen him. Is he like stopping at different restaurants?
Well, there's a couple guys that are doing the commercialized version of that, where they're sleeping in hotels and eating at restaurants.
Okay.
The one that I know isn't doing any of that, where it's primitive, where he's walking along roadways, but he's staying in a tent on the roadways and eating what he can collect wherever he's at.
I feel like my husband would be into that.
For sure.
I don't know if he could do a lot of the walking now because he's got a bad back and hips and stuff, but he loves to like just sleep outside.
Those challenges, like they really, I'm so fascinated by human beings who decide to do things harder than other people.
Yeah.
I would call my show Y'all Are Pussies, right? Because basically everybody who's watching this right now would never do any of this stuff. You're watching for sheer terrible enjoyment, watching my dick get bit by mosquitoes. Like, it is not a good exchange, for sure.
Yeah, my husband does hammock camping in the winter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, those are the best. Winter camps are the best.
Oh, he loves like literally a hammock on 2 trees and maybe this like A-frame type tarp over, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it like in the winter. And I said, no, why would you not do it like on a nice summer, spring night? He's like, no, it's gotta be cold.
Different experience when it's cold, for sure.
Oh God. Jerry says, Joe, you drink bourbon, not Kool-Aid. LOL.
For sure.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
How'd we get to dystopia? Oh, because of the earthquakes. That's right.
Oh yeah. All the things happening.
Yeah.
And you would just take out innocent people in the blink of an eye.
That's what you got out of all of that?
Yes!
Not that I would survive and drink out of raging rivers, but I would take people
pictured myself, big blast, whatever it was, for some reason didn't take me out. And I happened to walk up to you in your camp. You'd kill me.
Your elevator pitch would have to be quick and to the point, right?
Yeah.
You would have to walk up to me and you would know what I want. Are you a threat would be number 1. And if you're carrying a gun, you're dead.
I got nothing.
If you are, pull up your sleeves and take a fighting position, you're dead meat. So you would have to like almost lay on the ground and turn into jello saying, I am not a threat. Now you have the floor to say things. Yeah. Right. And if you start telling me a story, you're dead. If you tell me about how your sheep are lost and your kid is in the tree line and you've had it really hard, you're dead. Like, I don't want to hear any of your sob stories. There's one thing that you say. What is your utility to what you're walking in? If you say something like, I'm a great farmer, don't kill me, right? I'm gonna then say, oh, okay. Here's the deal. Here's some seeds. I want to see what you make of it. See if you're a skilled farmer, not a laborer, a person that can just do what I tell you to do. You actually have to have something in the field that you know more than me, and you can add value to my encampment.
See, no, I would just be like, I have nothing. If you just let me hang out for a little while, I'll whatever you guys need done.
Yeah, we'd put a sign out that says, we don't want anybody that is not highly skilled, so turn around now or you'll be killed. Did you see that? And then if you're walking up to it and say, okay, I'm not a threat, but am I skilled? I don't know if I'm really skilled.
What if I'm like, you don't even have to feed me. Can I just sit with you guys for a while? And
we wouldn't get to that part of the conversation. If you don't tell me what you add to my encampment, you're not coming in and you're probably going to be dead.
You would kill me.
Yes. Yeah. Very quickly. Do you ever see the movies where like the villain and the hero get in the same room and rather than just shoot on sight, they have this conversation and then the villain escapes or gets some kind of like advantage?
Yeah, and you're like, just shoot him.
You just shoot. I give like 5 seconds. Now, if you don't show any threat, you get 5 seconds to say what it is that you're going to do. And if you don't take advantage of it, you go in the decay hole. I mean, that's just going to be...
What if you're just like, no, Kelin, you can't sit with us. And I go, all right. And I just wander off.
The sign
or would you kill me?
Oh, the sign should have told you we're not accepting new people.
Does it say stay off my lawn as well? Don't come near us. I'll just be like, all right, I'll just wander around till I die, I guess. See ya.
Find another encampment that is looking for high beta, newcomers.
What if I show up with a bunch of food and I'm like, I have some food too. Can I sit with you?
That trades.
I can come into your group.
Yeah. If you're carrying barrels of food, like you don't have to say anything.
What if it's just a little food?
Your advantage is in the barrel. You just have to know that the food buys you a short time frame.
Yeah.
All right. So we eat all of your food. We're going to be interested in seeing what it is about you after the food.
Or what if I'm like, I just need some like shelter for the night. I have my own food. I won't take your food.
You are not getting shelter for the night. Yeah. One day does not.
You guys are jerks.
One day does not. No. Watch any kind of apocalypse movie, and the newcomer that just needs shelter is always the problem.
Well, then kill me if I become a problem.
You're in the gates. You don't get in the gates. You're in the lab, the quarantine area. Uh-huh. You get shelter in the quarantine area, and that's the best. And you have 24 hours to rest up and be on your way, passerby.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, but we need to get some food from you first. Give me some of your barrel. You got to pay for it. I mean, you think you're going to stay for free? You got to do something.
You are heartless in the apocalypse.
Yeah, in the apocalypse,
heartless.
You will have to know what the new currency of survival is.
I will go out knowing that till my last breath, I was willing to help people. And you will go out being like, I'm going to do all I can.
I'm going to live 7 days longer than you. And I'm going to be like, man, Kelin had it right.
You're going to be on your deathbed like, I'm still dying, and I went out a miserable, heartless survivor.
Yep.
And you'll feel good about that?
For sure.
You're like, hell yeah.
No, I'm not like on the fly coming up with these deals. It is mathematically and statistically the advantage to make these decisions. I don't want to kill a 7-year-old and throw him in a decay hole. Like it's not on my card, right?
Yeah.
But in that scenario, that is what's going to happen, not because I want to. It's going to be part of the rubric of survival in the apocalypse. It's just part of it. You create those principles, what adds to, what detracts, what gives advantage, what takes away advantage, what puts you in peril, whatever. And I know everything that makes things worse, and I know everything that makes things better. And I'm going to invite the better things, and I'm going to kill the worse things.
I think you're changing my mind on, do I want to die quickly and first, or do I want to try to survive? Because I don't know what would be worse, dying of a natural disaster or dying when the people in your life turn on you.
Yes. And they will.
Feels worse.
Yeah. The neighbor that's real nice to you, that you have low conversations with, when it comes down to it, they're going to be stealing your shit. And
people in your
killing
life that you had any type of friendly relationship with, some like humanity, the bonds of humanity,
Gone.
you see just turn on you and just take you out.
Once the social fabric is gone, it's a different game. And if you're not good at that game, you want to.
I feel like dying another situation.
There was a movie where the big tsunami was coming in that's 100 foot tall, and the couple goes out and just stands on the beach and waits for it to come for them. That would be you. That's me. Higher ground for me. Like, I might not live, but I'm not going to be at the beach, taking it on in the first 30 seconds.
I don't know if I'd be too scared to do that. I would try to fight for my life, but God, I can feel it. I can feel just the worry.
All right. Jerry says, okay, it's time for Kelin's
topic. Her turn.
Yes, Jerry, you are right.
All right. Kelin. So I have a far more pleasing topic, but probably not as interesting as yours. Speaking of like feeling some kind of way when you paint that picture, and it like makes me feel, I had a very physical reaction to something I saw on Friday in a good way. And it was just so like, oh my God. I was literally just standing outside in a parking lot doing nothing. I was working, and it was a beautiful day, and I wasn't by any windows or anything. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm just going to stand outside. I just want to feel the sun on me and the cool breeze. And I'm just going to be outside for a minute. And as I was doing that, I happened to look down the street, and I saw 3 kids just riding their bikes just in the yard. That's all they were doing. They were just riding in circles and playing together. And oh my God, I've never had a true flashback, but this was probably the closest to like a movie montage flashback you would see where I was a kid again. And I remembered the neighbor kids, all just us riding our bikes on the street and through the yards and playing games on the bikes and following each other in patterns. And it was like summertime. You're too young to have a job or responsibilities. You're just a kid in the summer playing outside, riding your bike. And I was like, oh my, like they are in it. They are in their prime. They don't even know that this is just like one of the best things in their lives they're doing right now. And I just had this like flashback of being a kid again, doing that, playing in the summertime with your friends. And I was just like, like I felt it. I felt it in me. It was great. And then I said, all right, I'm going to go back to my windowless room now. But have you ever had that where like you see something that just takes you back to just the most fun, carefree time of your life that was like, man, that was just good old carefree fun in the sun, summer, playing. Like kids, I feel like they weren't on their video games. They weren't in the basement. They weren't on phones. They were outside on a beautiful day in the summertime with no school, riding their bikes. And I was like, God, it made me feel like a kid again, mentally.
Okay.
God,
I gave you.
God, you're dead inside.
I gave you enough runway to go full boomer on this one, and you did. You did not disappoint.
It was wonderful. It was a wonderful feeling.
There was cotton candy that were just growing in the front yard, and there are candy cans. Yes. You can lick them on tree branches.
Carter says some music does that. Yes.
Yeah, right. The nostalgia.
You ever hear a song? Like, is there a song you can think of that instantly makes you feel or think of something, or good or bad? Like we've talked about my anxiety song. I have a song that, even though I love it, gives me anxiety, but there are other songs where I'm like, oh, I remember.
Music has a habit of connecting this. But one of the themes, though, throughout, like especially when you get older, when you experience something firsthand as a kid and how it seared in your brain, and then you go take something. Like there are very few things that you can go do again and it be the same experience. But one good thing that you can do is you can take like your favorite movie that did it for you and now watch that same movie on today's standards. And you're like, what was I thinking? The story was awful. The effects were awful. Everything in comparison to today was the worst. Why did I even freaking like this thing? But nostalgia, if you ask yourself before that, you're like, hey, how was Goonies? You're like, Goonies was freaking awesome, man. Right?
Yeah.
Because nostalgia has the ability to like take the good parts about and forget all of the other stuff, the blemishes for those memories. And that's our brain. I'm more, I have more affinity for what the brain can do with that than how the product was. It was nothing about the bikes and the state of mind and whatever, but reminiscing and have your brain say, here's the things, if I did go back in time, would I just be, would I have such a sensitive appeal to that where riding around in a circle was the funnest thing I could have done?
Because you didn't know at the time how great it was.
Is it that I live this, this life that had all kind of privileges in it, and it wasn't really as good, but because I was so privileged, it seemed as good. I don't know. It's one of those perspective washes.
Because I was so privileged. Yeah. I remember, you ever play Ghost in the Graveyard?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember being a kid at night. It was like dusk, getting dark, and the neighborhood kids all playing Ghost in the Graveyard. And I remember just how fun that was. It was so thrilling. Just being creepy and someone pretending they're a ghost and chasing you and you're running to base.
Remember that version of you was the least intellectual, the least amount of brain power that you had was impressed by it. Okay, so here's the deal.
Because I was a kid.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go play Ghost in the Graveyard with the same set of people that would, and see if it's just as fun now as it was then.
I bet you it is.
No,
I bet you it is.
Here, I'm going to tell you. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. The bugs are biting. It's getting too dark. I got dew on me. There was a spider. All of the things of your privileged life today where you didn't give two shits about the blemishes of the moment because you were innocent and you were pure at the time.
Yeah. All right. That sounds like we're getting
challenge it.
An adult Ghost in the Graveyard game going.
And see how that goes. I want you to write up a report.
You want to play?
I'll play.
Yeah.
I want you to write up a paper of what you remember it to be and all the things that were the best about it. And I want you to go recreate it as an adult with the same types of people that were there. And I want you to make a comparative analysis between those two things. And I bet you that it wasn't as good. You were dumber, so it felt better.
Well, I know for a fact it's going to feel different because it didn't hurt when I ran as a kid.
Right.
It didn't make you so winded and exhausted and sore to simply run to base.
Right.
Whereas playing at 41, I'm going to feel differently trying to run.
Do you think it's just your mortality? Because if like I can go outside and run 8 hours a day playing 5 different sports back to back, never got winded. I could think about things other than how tired I am, and I could actually enjoy things. Like today, if I did the same thing, I'd be paying attention to how hungry I am or how my muscles hurt or how I just might have sprained my ankle. Right. And I don't even notice anything that as a kid I was looking at or valuing.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like when we were playing softball over the weekend or any game we play, I'll watch my son just drip sweat but never mention anything. Whereas the adults are like, God, it's so hot. God, this sun. I can't. I'm thirsty.
We were so happy to just be out of the tyrannical control of our parents and school and whatever. Anything like you take
we're free.
You take let's just say someone served 20 to life, right? And the parole board comes up and says, hey, we're releasing you today. And he gets to walk out of there and he goes and says, ice cream. Oh, this ice cream is so good. And then the people on the bench are like, this ice cream is kind of sugary and it was kind of expensive.
It hurts my teeth. It's so cold.
Can you give me a spoon that's not wooden? Can you give me a plastic spoon?
Do you have any gluten-free or dairy-free?
But the guy that just escaped the tyranny of the oppression was just loving that he had the freedom to make a choice, even if it wasn't a perfect, representation of that choice. I
mean, it feels like you are just bashing my my fond memories and my innocent
What did you want me to
childhood.
do? Did you want me to say, give you a high five and say, go be a free spirit and play Ghost in the Graveyard and ride your bike around in circles? Is that what you wanted from me? What kind of pushback do you want?
That's exactly what I'm going to go do.
You can do that. Like, nothing's stopping you. Every person listening to
Except
this right now.
bad knees and soreness.
Dude, listen, I'm not responsible for your biology or your mortal decay.
Jerry says, no better feeling than being able to ride your bike on the curb for the longest distance. Oh, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Ride it
I think everybody should have go be a kid weekend and spend all Saturday and Sunday just pretending that they're a kid and doing everything that all of us did as kids and see if it's awesome as you remember.
I do love when we introduce our kids to something that we thought was awesome and they also think it's awesome. Like some movies, like Neverending Story or The Princess Bride, my kids love, even like The Sandlot. I love it when our kids will watch a movie that we say, even like Labyrinth, I'll say, oh my God, I love this as a kid. It was so good. And when they love it too, it's like, yeah, there's hope for this generation.
Nostalgia. It's a sickness.
It is. My kids will even start singing songs that I sang in my youth because of the internet. By the way, I'm almost about ready to officially call it. 90s are back. Fashion, music, trends.
You know what I saw this weekend?
What?
3 kids on skateboards skating through a parking lot. That is awesome.
Did they by chance have like a flannel shirt on?
They did.
Jenko jeans.
No Jenko jeans, but flannel
flannels.
Shirts. Yeah.
I'm telling you,
flannels.
90s are back. Every time, like chokers. Brown
Chokers are
lipstick are coming. Yeah, guys are into chokers, huh?
Yes, they were.
I think guys are still into chokers.
Yeah.
I was a choker wearer. Those were the days.
Not pushing on this one at all.
Choker, brown lipstick.
Brown
lipstick in the 90s. Heck yeah.
I don't remember the brown lipstick.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Okay.
That's all I got. It's not a dystopian murder people kind of
It's
topic,
not murder,
but
it's defending our encampment. Like, you don't need to come up to my encampment. It's not murder. Murder is if I came out to your encampment and took you out. That would be murder but you wandered up to me. I didn't wander up to you.
What would Jesus do, Joe?
Yeah.
What would Jesus do? Would he kill people to live longer, or would he help everyone?
I think Jesus would say this is a debate worth having. I don't necessarily think he'd side on either.
I think he would.
Yeah, defending your family and defending your community. I think that it would be if in cold blood you go looking for murder. That's where he would disagree.
Yeah,
but protecting your encampment, I think he'd be like, gotta do what you gotta do, dude.
Speaking of Jesus and having emotional reactions to things, have you seen The Chosen? Or no?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. First of all, you should watch it.
I think I saw
pretty fun show.
Yeah.
And not fun, but interesting. But I saw an episode over the weekend, had me ugly crying. Is there anything that you could watch that is not real? It's a movie, it's a show, it's an actor, it's a play, whatever, that has you like ugly crying, or are you like, I 100% separate reality?
I would say
art?
The Overcomer stories get me super close to that.
Like the underdog kind of.
Yep.
Like, are you like a Rudy? Like Rudy would make you cry?
Not cry. Like, I'm saying it'll get me to the boundary, the border.
You've never watched anything that was like, made me cry.
Watery eyes, not like
Misty.
Ugly cry. Yeah, a little misty sometimes.
Not even like tears running out.
Every once in a while. Like, I'm trying to think the last time that freaking happened, because it's never at a movie production. It may be some just video that, sort of takes that emotion and puts it real dense. Like,
you ever see something in real life happen that did? I've almost done it in real life.
I don't think
something
so.
was just like so sweet. Oh God, everything makes me cry. Yeah. I felt some kind of way one time. My daughter had a friend who was playing basketball, and we went to his game, and there was a kid on his team that was developmentally delayed, and they were letting him play, and for like one, I don't know, however many minute period, both teams just kept getting the ball to him, and he'd come and they would sort of run, but they weren't stopping him, and they'd let him shoot. And if he missed, either team would grab it again and get it right back to him and let him shoot again. And if he missed, I mean, this went on for a while. They'd get it back to him again until he made it. And then everybody cheered. And I was like, something in my eye. And that wouldn't like get to you.
Maybe
if you saw it in real life.
It would push on it. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It would disrupt the flow of the game, and I would be wondering like how they're going to treat the game now that they've messed with it and made. And
they counted it. They counted that as a point.
I'd kind of.
Would you be like, oh, it's kids, let them do this, or would you be like, hey, that needs to not count? They're not playing fair.
Yeah, once you break the rules, it's a hard thing for me to overcome.
Oh, they counted it. That was it. That was an earned point for that team.
I could see where it'd be a point, but it's still like I bet you there were a lot of fouls. Alleged people should have been penalized. I bet there was a lot of stuff. Somebody should have been benched for obviously giving it to the other team. Like there's some things that we decided not to follow.
Yeah, everybody knew we're letting this kid shoot until he gets it.
Yeah.
Oh, still even thinking about it. When we were roller skating, this didn't really have me tearing up, but when we were at the skating rink, there was a man there who was developmentally delayed, and he was there with his older mother, and he can't roller skate, but I guess he comes every weekend and he just walks, and he walks on the floor like he's skating. And every time a song came on that he loved, you see him just like, and he dances the whole time while he's walking. And I'm just like, love that man. And he was just like, you could tell that was just the best time he was having. He was like, and he's just dancing to the music.
Are you trying to torture me? Is it that the only person you really know that is dead inside in the soulless? And then you bring up topics. Do you bring up topics that I can have no commentary on because it doesn't move any kind of emotional needles?
You are dead inside.
But you already know this. It's not like something. Do you need reassurance? You could just ask me, Joe. Do you feel like you're not emotionally captured and that this is going to have any effect? I would say, yeah, I probably shouldn't bring that one up because I'm not going to have much to add to it.
If you were there in real life, in person, you wouldn't be like, I don't know. That's so great.
I don't know. It might affect me a little. I might feel like a little caffeine buzz or something like that.
Caffeine buzz?
Yeah.
Joseph says, I cried like a baby with Brian's song and A Beautiful Life. John says, Old Yeller will make you cry. You ever seen either of those?
I saw Old Yeller, yeah.
Patricia says, I went to New York City almost exactly 1 year after 9/11. And when we visited where the towers were, I just stood there and cried like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I went to New York City right after 9/11 when they had the light beams up. That was our senior year trip to New York, and we could see the light. Remember when the Twin Towers, they had the lights? And I remember feeling something. I don't know if maybe I was too young to fully let it affect me that much, but then other things I'll be like, oh God, that really got me. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Julie says, pure joy is contagious for most people.
Yeah.
Not Joe, apparently.
No. But if I go to a place like Gettysburg and there was a lot of loss of lives on the battlefields, and you think about what people were willing to do and sacrifice themselves for the country or something that they believed in, like I feel that heaviness. It's just not an emotional thing where it makes me realize the things that the life that I have, I take and make that more valuable. So I have constructive things I still do with those kind of moments. I just don't let my eyes leak, or I don't have commentary on it if it's not going to do anything, Do
you ever get like a true physical reaction to something, like a increased heart rate or goosebumps or something?
The role that I play in this world, right?
Yeah.
Is something could happen. And there's got to be a rock that just interprets what you're going to do about it. And that's it. You don't need them.
To be the steady, non-emotional.
Yeah, so if 15 zombies rushed into this room, right? And the camera, would they pan to you and you breaking down crying about it? Or would they pan to me and me grabbing weaponry and staking out deals, right?
Why would I just sit and cry about it? How do you know I wouldn't grab a weapon if it's a zombie?
And so The death would be dramatic if they pan to you because you'd be first to be eaten, right? Do you really think you wouldn't like go devastating, cry, and get that out of the way before you started grabbing? What do you think your go-to is?
I wonder. It would either be grab something and fight like hell, run. That might be it. Just run. A small part of me wonders if I would go deer in headlights and freeze.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, you'd probably deer in headlights and freeze and then totally buckle into a pile of Jell-O right there where we sit, because you would be paralyzed by the indecision of what to make of zombies coming through the door. People like me,
I would run.
I talk about zombies all the time. So when zombies show up, like I just go into the zombie mode and I know what to do already. I know what the rules are, I think. There'd be some information to be able to collect from it, but I would just go into that mode. There wouldn't even be any thoughts about it.
You wouldn't run? Wouldn't it be easier to run?
But that's not the default mode. If running was the best strategy, you'd have to make it on the fly. Fight, run would have to be, either one of them was on the menu.
Yeah.
You have to figure out if it's a run moment or a fight moment.
I would have to be like, run, get distance, so I have more time. More time to grab something, more time to find a way out, more time to something. Get away from this immediate threat, give myself more time, I feel like is where I would.
All right, let's get off dystopian stuff real quick. Look at
all these people who have actual memories of feeling great. Joe Danyi has none. So sad. That makes me misty-eyed.
Don't emotion shame me.
I am totally emotion shaming you.
Anyway, you following this stuff? I think where was this? There was that couple that went to Jazz Fest and they got a beat down. And
what?
You didn't see this?
No.
This girl. Okay, so there was a scuffle after a Jazz Fest somewhere. I forget what city it was in, and a mob of kids ascended on this couple and beat the crap out of them. She got beat up so bad. I mean, she had blood coming out of her mouth.
Was this just the mob, like a mob of bad kids, or did the couple do something and then a mob was like fighting back? Or
well, I spent time on the details and it's so fuzzy because it's a racial event, and so everybody's saying everybody else was the bad guy. But still, we live in cities where no matter what, there's a threat that somebody's going to, not just like, I love fighting. And if you go mano a mano, two people just throwing down, like that's a fair fight. And, you say words to me, I get displeased about it. We throw some, but when you get mobbed, it's not about win, lose, who's stronger, whatever. When this mob ascends on you, they don't like, once you're on the ground, stop punching. Like when I fight somebody, if they're on the ground and can't defend themselves, you're not punching on their face anymore. You let them get up, get back in position, and you fight them. You throw hands when they're ready to defend themselves. But these mobs, they will stomp your face when you're unconscious, which means they're trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And so there was stories about that after the Jazz Fest, this couple, the guy was throwing some words at people and slapped a guy. And okay, so he would have started it by touching somebody else. So then you're like, the rest of the story is this guy squared up to him and they fought and somebody won or lost. I would totally accept that. Right.
Yeah.
But if it got to the point where people are just waiting for an excuse to do violence, like you get offended of something, so you loot a store, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was just, you wanted to loot a store. You were just waiting for the conditions to happen to make it so that you could say, whoa, there was total blah, blah, blah. Now I looted the store. You're just waiting for that. But there's a whole segment of population that is sitting on violent tendencies that will take every chance they get to be able to unleash those tendencies on other people. And that's why I'm staying away from big cities. I have no traveling and seeing dense population areas. There's nothing there for me. There's nothing that good to look at that I want to risk that kind of behavior.
It's a little scary. Carter says it was Cincinnati,
Ohio. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I guess I do, but I've never wanted to live in New York City. And some people are just like, oh my God, the city and it's New York and it's everything. And I was like, I like to see it. I want to experience it, but God, I want out. Like I want back to open and nature and not that. But It is scary. Like to me, it's scary nowadays to even be somewhere, even if it's not a big city, even if it's like a movie theater, like anything where there's a lot of people. Do you lately feel like you almost have to like be prepared in
Absolutely
every situation? Like, where are the exits? What am I going to do if something
all
happens?
the time. And there's more anxiety the more people are in small spaces, because we all can agree that we're very polarized and we don't like each other a whole lot. There's nobody really saying, let's, be more human and, work together, cooperate, overlook our differences, whatever. It's the opposite of that, where we're getting more militant towards each other. So I don't want to be in.
A sad thing I noticed on Saturday when we were at that skate connection. Hi. One of the things that stood out to me, and then I felt kind of bad for even thinking this, is it was not packed. It was not like a packed place, but there was a decent crowd. And it stood out to me how everybody there that afternoon was so nice. People were smiling at people. People, like, they were strangers. It wasn't groups of people that knew each other. It was small groups here and there of people that just went skating. Everybody was being friendly. Everybody was being nice. People were talking, chatting, playing games together. And I remember leaving there thinking, God, it's kind of sad how I was in an environment that everybody, the workers, were so friendly and so nice to each other that it stood out, because that's not common. That's kind of sad.
I mean, chaos theory and, what entropy suggests is that it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. The energy that comes with that kind of conflict is part of nature. Like you don't look at a pack of wolves and think, oh, these guys are just going to walk around and, do their thing. They are a pack of wolves, and the nature of what they are is that they're going to defend themselves and kill small prey and whatever. So all of the math that goes with being a wolf is that we're observing them when they're not behaving in the way that we fear, but we know we have it in them. So do you think human beings are destructive? Do you think they're aggressive? Do you think they're petty? Do you think that they lash out? So if those are the pack of wolves, given the proper circumstances, do you think human beings will act in spite of everything that we actually are? So what is the pressure that stops you from behaving as the primitive version of yourself? Like, why do you not?
Well, I definitely don't want to go to jail.
Okay, so repercussions, punishment.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you think we're in an era right now where you fear punishment versus there's a lot of people that get away with a lot of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Are we in an era of justice or injustice?
Probably injustice.
Okay, so does this go on? Does this inspire the people that are breaking the rules, or the people who need to be protected from the people breaking the rules? Who gets advantage?
People breaking the rules.
Okay, breaking the rules. If you know that there's only a slim chance that you're going to be paid attention to, or you're not going to give some kind of slap on the wrist, or not be penalized at all. So that's one. Mm-hmm. So what else? So if you want to make more stuff happen, you remove the punishment and consequence side, and you make that more likely. What's the next one? Why don't you go today and steal something from someone? Punishment was number one.
I feel bad about it.
Okay, so you have empathy.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think that it's a major characteristic in today's society and culture that we're empathizing with you? So if I cut you off in traffic, I feel bad because I know what it's like to be cut off in traffic, versus like, I cut you off and bitch, who are you? This culture and society, are we giving advantage to the unempathetic, or are we giving advantage to the empathetic?
Unempathetic.
Okay, so far we're 2 for 2, right? So far we're giving no consequences and narcissists who only look at themselves. What's the third reason you stop or don't do certain things?
Would you count the fear of it being done to me as a repercussion?
Yeah, part of the repercussion, yeah.
Okay, so several repercussions. Empathy, I'd feel bad. Might get hurt doing it. What if I go steal and they got a gun and they're protecting their stuff? Could be dangerous, so danger.
I'm going to call that a natural consequence.
Okay.
All right. So that's a natural consequence.
Well, yeah. Then I have this feeling that it's not right. It's not who I want to be.
Okay. So your reputation. So that's the third one, where if the rest of society shuns you or you're excommunicated because of your behaviors, you want to be included, and that will disinclude you. Yeah. So do you think citizens shun people who break rules, or do they encourage the rule breaking? Spoiler, they encourage the rule break. So if you want entropy and chaos to happen, what you do is you give advantage to the 3 reasons that makes people break, or actually advantage to people who don't follow the rules that makes people pure and follow rules and whatever. So that's why I say in a segment, mathematically, it's going to get worse, not better. So all you have to do, here's the secret sauce. If you want to call your politicians up and say, hey, I found out the magic formula for making society better. Ready? I gave you the 3 here. So if you get your politician and say, on consequences, what recommendation do you give to politicians to make the advantage to the rule follower and massive consequences to the rule breaker? How about enforce the rules?
Yeah.
To everybody?
Everybody.
Uniformly across the board? Everybody feels good about rules. All right.
Yeah.
Check 1.
Yep.
All right. Empathy. So we got a bunch of narcissists who are concerned about themselves and what's in it for them and their interests above all else. So how do we then integrate, and you're going to call your politician again and tell them how you're going to make people put other people before themselves? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Is there any model, anybody who does that regularly and might be part of their teachings and might put a big emphasis on putting other people
Jesus.
Okay. So religion, giving religion some kind of influence in the town square, because this what is it? Secularist morality didn't actually come to fruition, you fucking morons. Okay. Didn't work out. So we need to give it to a model that actually has it ingrained and built into it. Okay. And number 3, reputation. And how do you then get culture to stop like giving so much acknowledgement to the rebels, right? The people who don't follow the rules, and give credit to the people like the Mike Pences of the world, or the what's his name, that other Utahian guy. But anyway, they follow the rules and they do it to such a martyrdom degree that we're like, oh, you did a hard thing and didn't go in a room with a woman because you didn't want to be impugned at any point.
But unfortunately, we've also, not only have we been conditioned to look away or excuse the poor behavior, we've also now been conditioned to need entertainment, to need a shock value, to need something interesting. And that's why they say like bad news sells. Bad news is more interesting. A news program that does nothing but bad, scary news is always going to win over a news program that does nothing but positive, uplifting stories. That's another thing we've conditioned ourselves to get more of this dopamine hit and to want to feed the negative, because the other is like, oh, that's boring.
But you would be part of the problem in 2 seconds, because you don't feel like your decisions contribute to the societal end, right? And you're like, oh, it's just me, right? But because you have the same kind of impulses that human nature, you need a governor, right? You need something that pushes back against the thing that you want to do, right? Even if it's a 1%er, and keeps you on a track to do something above and beyond yourself. Again, religion was really the only answer there. And I'm sorry, secularists, that you make bad decisions.
Well, and I think it was you and Emma Lobros one day, they made a statement that said, it seems like, what'd they say, Christianity is becoming popular again. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
We're safe to experiment and try. I mean, we've been looking up the stars and trying to figure out how things actually work. And we know when we're onto something and we know when we're off track. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we can take human beings, again, if we give ourselves full credit as we're these noble creatures are always going to make good decisions that are in interest of other people, you're lying to yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. So for instance, in our story of the dad and the 8-year-old daughter that walks up to your encampment and they're like, we've been walking for 7 days and we have no food. Will you bring us in? Right. Now, if you don't think that there's a dad out there that will say that are murderous rampagers that say, hey, we're going to use the appeal of the emotional people in this deal and we're going to have you with tears in your eyes carrying a bunny stuffed animal, and I want you to appeal to them, and then when they let us through the gates, we're going to murder everybody. If you don't think
we're gonna rob them,
that human beings are capable of both sides of that equation, all people, that's not your psychotics in the world are not the only ones that are conniving and scheming in that way. It's all of us. So if you think that we create a religion that appeals to your better, the better parts of you and puts principles in that kind of help manage your impulses. If you don't think that there's going to be someone comes along and say, oh, all these people, when they follow this thing, they give a bunch of money and they don't even think about things and they give blind faith and trust into something. You don't think there's an exploiter that comes down the road and says, oh, this Christianity thing's good for putting money in my pocket and controlling other people and doing really bad things in the name of, right?
Yeah.
So that's got to be the standard. So what one generation did is it saw the church went really awry. A Catholic church that used to feed people got in the mode of doing gambling sessions and buying properties. And, you really couldn't get a sense were they helping anybody at all. Everybody was still going there and they were paying their dues and they were singing the songs, but you didn't feel the effects of what the church did on everyday life. So what happens to the Catholic church? It shrinks in the impression it has on culture. Right. Mm-hmm. And then so once it's shrunk and their nuts have been cut off and you don't really see them anymore. Some, brave souls down the road says, okay, well, they died enough deaths. The religion died enough deaths here that if I go to it, it's not going to be that beast of a thing that's going to crush me, that it's more important than me. I'm still looking up to the stars and I'm trying to figure out who the intelligence was of designing everything that we're doing. I have a good idea that it probably wasn't just a scientific evolution deal. So I have all these doubts that I'm not getting the full story. Maybe this thing that had, that survived many, many millennia, right? Maybe there was something to it. And maybe I'm not subscribed to the Catholic version of it, but I'm going to pick some wisdom out of it and see if I can, earn some of these insights from really smart people that came before me. They might have been onto something. So they're flirting with it. They're not all in. Mm-hmm. They have tendencies because we all have those tendencies. And I hope that generation rebirths Christianity and all of the traditional religions into something more pure. It'll get bastardized again because that's just the chaos of human beings. But in the short term, it's so neutered that if somebody breathed just a little bit of life into it, you could actually have a big impact on culture. It's just my theory.
I have found I regularly get in discussions with a family member that is an atheist and says, God's not real. It's a made up character and Christians are idiots. And he will say Christianity is it makes people dumb. He says people choose to stop thinking, stop trying to seek answers to things, and you just give a blanket, oh, it's a big man in the sky who's magic, and that's the answer for everything. And he thinks that people become idiotic. And
can I pause you right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you were sitting in the room and he said something like that, then I would have to find people that weren't respected intellects that believed in Christianity. And if I can find a sampling of smart people. Now, can you make the argument that if you give up your free will and your decision-making to a church, and are there stupid people in the tent that they can't control themselves and they have no disciplines or responsibilities? So in order not to hurt themselves, they give all the decision-making to a church, and can you call them stupid? Yeah, but I'd rather that person kind of submit their free will to someone who can control it a little bit better because at any point when you're in a church, I don't know if you know this, guys, if you're in church and you're going along and you're taking communion and you're singing, you can decide not to do that at any point. You're there on your own volition, right?
Yeah, you don't have to be there.
So if you're like, I'm not handling this whole life thing for a while, I'm going to go pay attention to nothing but church and sing songs. And then you look around and say, I haven't done dumb shit in about a month. That is not the pursuit of a stupid person. A stupid person would be saying, oh, why I keep doing dumb shit and never being able to figure out. That's a dumb person.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Peterson said something similar.
Oh, wait, by the way, Jordan Peterson, would you consider him an intellect?
Yes.
Ben Shapiro, an intellect?
Yes.
Me, an intellect? Come on, give me some love.
Yeah.
All Christians?
I think Jordan Peterson, he won't outright say it, but he's there.
Claiming the title, but if you the best Christians in the world are the ones where you can take the sum of their their deeds and their conversations and their beliefs, and you can make them a Christian when they don't ever have to say that I am one.
Yeah. And this person I'm sure would push back, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, intellect, atheist. So yes, I can absolutely see both sides. And again, I think it was Peterson who said when, and this is almost like the devil's advocate way of looking at it, rather than fighting for something to like a God belief or anything. But if someone is living in a harmful way, maybe they're in addiction or whatever, and let's say they go to church and they start participating and they're getting help and they're in therapy and they're doing all these things. Yes, they could easily say, well, God turned this around, or God did this, or, you know, something spiritual moved in me, where he's like, really, you found something better to do. You were using your time to shoot up and steal and lay around high all the time. You found something else to focus on and you got away from that. And that's why it helped. And that's kind of what this person says. He's like, do you just go to church because it makes you feel good? Like, do you just go because it's like therapy, it's a nice thing? Or do you actually believe in God? And I said, well, both. I think you can have both. But I do get the idea of people saying there could be reasons that you act differently, meaning better, and it may not be a being known as God or a creator. It's just you found something else to do. If you are addicted to smoking and instead of smoking, you sit there and you eat carrot sticks, you just found a different thing to do.
Well, and that's what the wisdom is more important than the scripture and the songs and whatever. Those other things are an excuse to get just a little bit exposure to what the wisdoms are of the teachings that are in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And then so like I know of we work with addicts, so I know of many more people that did the whole religion thing when they were at their worst and became better human beings because of it, right? And they attribute it to the religion, right? Mm-hmm. I attribute it to the behaviors.
Changing your habits.
Right. You change your behaviors. You open your mind to things like taking care of other people and helping the poor and doing forgiveness and having like these things that they're very, even Neil Tyson can't argue that those teachings are somehow have a, like, if you give grace to some other person, right? What harm is it? What does it do that's really good? And what does it do that's really bad? All right. The good part is that you no longer have to think of scores to settle. You never have to think about the anxieties of injury. You don't have to prescribe to scarcity or limitations. The downside is that you can be taken advantage of, because if you're quick to forgive, then no justice is being served, and somebody is going to escape their deal. Well, if the goal is you and controlling you, and like, do you want everybody in the world? Like, if you just had your thing, if everybody had a exposure to what grace was, and everybody was just forgiving everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. So you walk into the gas station and somebody's not doing their job, and you're waiting and you're being inconvenienced, and they walk up to the counter like, man, it's really busy. And then you say something like, oh, no problem. Like, I got you. Whatever.
Yeah,
that feels different. That feels different than like, you should do your job and I've been waiting here forever and let me talk to your manager, right?
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is. And people that want to say, you know, like this, and I've even told this person, like, I didn't grow up in a church. I didn't start in a church and they taught me about other things. I experienced other things that I couldn't explain, and I grew a curiosity in, and I said, maybe these people in the church have answers for this. Maybe these people in the church can give me some guidance. Experience came first. Religion kind of followed, if that makes sense, rather than somebody taught me about religion and pushed it onto me in other ways. But that very thing is, you know, why is it when you start making these other choices and living in a different way that you do actually feel better, see things differently? Life feels like it got better. You appreciate things more. And again, secularists could say, well, you're retraining your brain. That is a thing. You retrain your brain to see the positive. You can retrain your brain to feel differently about something. And yes, but why? Like, what does that whole concept stem from? good versus bad and feeling better versus feeling bad. Like you said, you feel differently when you did something nice versus when you amped up a bad situation and it just got more and more negative. Where does that feeling come from? Why is that a thing?
There's one of the first teachings is that human beings are fallible. That means you're fallible and I'm fallible, right? All human beings are fallible. Mm-hmm. When you're critical of someone who's also fallible, it's really hard to hold somebody to account, right? When you're just as fallible as them. So if you look at a politician that, I don't know, stole something, mm-hmm. and you stole something, who's better, who's worse in that deal? It's equal.
Yeah.
Right? So that's part one, is that we're all going to break rules. We're all going to be sinners. We're all going to do things that we're not supposed to do. The second part of that is the aspiring to be godlike, being better than of the fallible person. So if you stole, but you're trying not to steal, and you feel empathy and you feel bad about being the steal, and you pay penance for stealing, that's a good person. If you have the politician who steals and makes excuses and tries to get away with it and tries to make it not their fault, that's a bad person. So the two parts of it is we're all going to break the rules, but where the human being gets hung up. We get hung up on the sin and make that the only thing. Like, if I told you that everybody is a sinner and then you're critical of sinners, you're missing the point of what religion's wisdom is trying to teach us, right? Mm-hmm. A good person is trying to find penance and a bad person is trying to find excuses. So I blame I'm going to talk about two of the three people. Here's who I blame for all of this. I'll give you three. Number one, the victim creators. People that come along, these are the devils, by the way. They are freaking demons. They come and whisper your ear and they say, sin, you're a victim of this and they deserve it. That's the devil telling you you're about to sin, right? Mm-hmm. But it's justified because of XYZ. Either you are at a disadvantage or because this happened or because it's due. The devil's going to whisper in your ear and tell you justified sin. A angel is going to whisper in your ear, right? That I know they deserve it, but let's give them grace. I know what you should do. They're the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder that's trying to get you to do the good thing, in spite of all of the reasons that you absolutely should have vengeance, right?
Yeah.
So number one, I blame the victim culture. I blame every victim hustler, all the race hustlers, all the, every hustler there is. I have massive hatred. And I know they're sinners and I'd forgive them, but I still hate them. Mm-hmm. Number two, the capture of academics. There's a university that I'm always cite here, and it's unfair to them, but I look at them as all universities. There are whole social sciences that can study this stuff. They could take a sampling of 100 religious people and 100 atheists, and they can study why good things happen here and why bad things happen here in a complete objective manner. But because they're so captured to ideology, they've already picked, they want religious people to be all impugned, and we want all people who are seculars to be the noble ones. We reversed it, where it should be the opposite. But if they just objectively and scientifically studied when people do things, like if somebody drops out of high school, gets a drug habit, has a kid out of wedlock, never starts a family, do you think mathematically that person's going to suffer? Mm-hmm. Okay, and if you wait till you're married to have sex, you get a job, you don't start any drugs, you have a family, and you live traditional, do you think you're going to have a better time?
Yeah.
You are going to have a better time. So if my social scientists were up there studying both and they're like, what's going on here with this math? Why are these people over here? What do you think academics do? They create a victimhood and make all kind of explanations about how we should cater to the people who are doing the wrong thing, because it feels bad to tell people to do things like, again, the devil's on the shoulder of the academics saying, no, go have sex. Those drugs, I bet you they feel really good right now. Do what feels good. And when they're in peril, the academics are all looking like, oh, look at all these new victims that I can have as part of my freaking academic cult. So academics shouldn't pick a side. They should look at math and see what causes all these phenomenons to happen. So if the state legislature wants to say, hey, there's 3 rules, get a good job, wait till marriage to have sex, and, graduate high school. Mathematically, that gives you an advantage. Do you think that they got gang tackled when they said something like that? A mathematical advantage. You now have the information. Do those 3 things, you have an easier haul. Do you think we're going to put our effort into feeling bad for the victims that we've cultivated, or we're going to highlight the people who followed that advice. It really worked out, and you should do this too.
But where do you then tie in anything of faith with that? Because could you not just say it makes sense? Obviously, if you have a child before you're making any money,
it's the opposite of impulsive.
2 mouths to feed, you're now screwed. Whereas if you don't, that makes sense.
Yeah, the impulsivity, the right now versus the you got to wait for the payoff thing. Faith is something where you don't know if it's actually going to happen, but do the thing anyway. Now, television, movies, politicians, civilization, we have a 30-second attention span.
Yeah.
If we don't get the benefit in 30 seconds, we're out. Faith requires that you do something. What if I said, you do this thing, it's going to be really hard for 10 years, and after the 10 years, trust me, things are going to be better. How long would you hang out? Would you need reassurances? Would you need, acknowledgement? Would you need somebody to pat your head and say it's okay? Well, most people would. So the development of faith is something that is a superpower, right?
Yeah.
Where only 5% of the people are willing to do a hard thing. So the wisdoms of the teachings, right? Do you get hung up on when, let's just say, a family, I forget his name. Who's the guy that he just suffered like 12 different diseases and things that happened, and
like God kept trying to harden his heart, and then he made plagues and stuff.
Yeah. What was his name? Job.
Is it Job?
It was Job.
I don't know. Okay.
So if you paid attention to the Job story, this is an allegory of teaching a moral message about enduring hardships over the period of time and keeping your faith when a reasonable person would look at and say, why did you hang on? He was freaking torturing you over a bet with the devil, right?
Yeah.
Why would you even hang on? Because all of the setup is it's not going to be easy, and you can't get hung up on what you're surviving today, knowing that you were promised X on the other side of this, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hard.
And what this person says every time I point out an example of something, it's like, but God can do whatever he wants. Why would he do that? Why would he harden his heart? Why would he do this? Just make everybody. And I'm like, well, but that teaches us nothing. Are things done to have the lesson involved?
But the empaths can't get over the fact that you're going to have suffering in order to get to a place, because we got this buy-in that our existence, we're all narcissists. So our existence is what it's all about. My comfort today is what it's about, what I have, what the respect I have, what riches I have.
The way I see it is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you know what? This world is nothing. You're going to graduate into another multiverse. All you got to do is show that you can you can earn it by suffering when you're here. This is hell. Earth is hell. You're going to suffer. There's going to be 1,000 reasons for you not to succeed. Have faith in me that when you leave this place, you're going to go to somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to think of 1,000 reasons why that's not true. The devil's going to whisper in your ear and tell you that, no, this is the only place. And you don't have to suffer. You can go have this. Look at these people. That is the teachings of the Bible, is to get you ready to know that the frictions create the strength. Make the argument like, okay, if God's all powering, why would he make babies die? Right? Mm-hmm. That would be buying in that the baby having a full life, which you decided, is that baby's purpose. What if that baby dying served a purpose that had 1,000 butterfly effect wings, right? That changed 20 other things for the afterlife. You don't know that.
Yeah. Hence why there's all kinds of Christian songs that say he took something that seemed bad and made it good.
Exactly. But that is the overall theme of Christianity and religions in general, is to absorb the frictions of this world so you can graduate into the next. And if you, two facets, I think about both of these. What if, because we stop thinking about what's in it for us and the comparisons between what we didn't get and what we did get, we're freer to be able to make better decisions, and maybe we are revealing ourselves and things that you would never do if we were just the self-interested narcissists that we are programmed to be because we're fallible. That's a way of overcoming our natural tendencies.
And I think too, I've heard a few people, atheists, say things like, oh, it must be nice to go do whatever you want. And then just say, oh, but you know what? It's okay. This person died for our sins and I'm allowed to. I can just go say, oh, I'm sorry. And you're forgiven of everything. And you just have this blanket to do anything you choose and be a shitty person.
That's right.
And it's
looking
okay
for your rationale to do bad things. That's what the devil does.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think anybody that truly has adopted the mindset of what scripture or God or Jesus was trying to say doesn't just feel nothing when they mess up. If you're like, I'm going to go do what I want, and then I'll just say, oh, sorry, and not actually be sorry and continue, that's not the same thing. You're doing it wrong, I guess, And it's like, for example, I'm not always the nicest person when I'm driving in the car, and like, if people are like, you swear at people who cut you off, or you're like yelling at people going too slow or riding your bumper or something. And I listen to K-Love all the time now. I love it. And I'll be sitting there singing a little Christian song, and then I'll interrupt to go, nice asshole, or, oh God, like yell at a driver and then go back to my Christian song. And I will literally go, oh God, I'm sorry. And I really do feel bad.
Yeah, that balancing effect is everything. That's the pressure that gets people who are going to behave badly. You're going to swear at people. You're going to misbehave. But you have a pressure that at least doesn't make you perfect, because that is not the point. But at least put yourself in check and saying, I'll try better next time.
Yeah.
Right? Versus the victim group who says, oh no, they were an asshole anyway, they deserved it. So then they spiral in the other direction. They're not pulled back up 1 inch to being a little bit better of a person. They're pushed down 3 inches to even be a bigger turd than they were before it happened. That's the difference. They're getting worse. Religion is getting better. So to answer your question, that's the reason. They see society. They know that there's some wisdom that is in those teachings that they can ferret out. I'm not a literalist when it comes to Bible teachings or scripture or anything. I am a go to a book. I've read books. Have you ever read a book that you read it multiple times and you get different things out of it every time you read it? It's sort of written in a way that the reader is sort of in control of the messaging, or the spiritual version.
Well, I'm not a big reader, and honestly, this whole read the Bible in a year thing is the first time I've ever read the Bible, because now I feel obligated.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard when they say the Bible is a living text, I have seen where coincidentally what I'm reading that day is exactly something I was thinking about before I read it.
Yeah. And I don't get hung up on that stuff. I think of it as the new perspectives that I bring when I do the reading. I've even done this with business books and other things in literature. I'll read the same paragraph, and what occurred to me when I was a 20-year-old, when I read it, I was like, oh, I got an epiphany. And I read that same paragraph as a 40-year-old, and I come to a completely different epiphany because it applies differently.
Yeah.
There's no mysticism in that. The words are written in a way that they affect you at different ways and different times. But I think because there's so many different types of people, the language and the words that they get out of it are different for every reader that there are. That's as mystic as I get when it comes to that, but it's more about your interpretation and your perspective on something and what you were supposed to hear in the words that you just read. That's where that Holy Spirit thing comes in. And I don't have a great, understanding of what that rolls, but I can recognize it when I get a lightning strike of something that I know that I didn't create. I give credit to something that was way bigger than me.
Yeah. Like that's a little coincidental. I just did this last night. Because I'm doing this, like read the Bible in a year, it's a little passage every day. Well, I'm trying to read ahead because I'm going out of town for a few days and I won't have it with me. And I don't want to get behind and then I'm overwhelmed thinking I have like 6 chapters I now have to read and I can't do it. So I'm reading ahead. So when I come back from out of town, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm right on track again, which is so interesting that I'm not even in where I should have been had I been following the timeline. I moved myself ahead. And a conversation I had with this family member about this topic and Christians being idiots. And there's some guy you can find on YouTube. He goes to college campuses and debates people about God and stuff like that. And this family member's like, that guy's an idiot. I would destroy him. And you got to be smarter than these people and blah, blah, blah. So last night I read a page that is literally, I think it's Paul writing or something about wisdom, God's wisdom versus human wisdom, and how people who are non-believers will mock it and think it's just so silly and dumb, and they don't get it, and they think that they are smarter, and just sort of like not understanding that God is far smarter than you could ever imagine to be, kind of thing. And I'm reading this page and I like grabbed my husband. I was like, listen to this, because he knew everything going on. And I read this whole page and I'm like, tell me that's not the exact conversation I was just having. And I'm not supposed to be on this page today.
Okay. Can I dissect this for you?
Yes.
What if the reading of anything in that book is not what this is about, right?
Yeah.
You, in your current lot, you can prove that you can do something over a period. So let's just say you read a full chapter and you got zero stuff out of it. In fact, the point would be probably you'd read it and have zero understanding, but you did it anyway.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's the majority.
So
of
then
this.
you were challenged through something that was hard. Now you have other things that are competing for the time that you should be reading. And now you're writing yourself and figuring out a way to do the thing that you can see no value in, but doing it anyway in spite of the hardship that it's hitting. But then every once in a while you get dropped a nugget where you actually get some communication in one of the paragraphs, and then you get a little recommendation, little faith nugget that gets thrown in your direction. So if I were to guess, as dissecting it and analyzing it, you are being challenged in the if you can stay to it, and if your faith can be developed, because what you thought, you had your doubts, you weren't seeing any fruit of it. It was hard. There was other things that are competing. It was making you worse. Why does this thing feel bad when it's supposed to be good?
Feels like homework.
And then you get the nuclear bomb dropped on you. You're like, this is what it's for. Stay in the game. And you're like, get it, right?
Yes. Because there's been a couple of times. And again, I've been reading it every day since January 1st. And I would say, unfortunately, the majority of the time is I feel like I have homework. I have to do this.
Exactly. This should feel nicer.
Yeah. Sometimes, especially Old Testament stuff, I have no idea what they're talking about. I can't say these names. My brain is jarbled. My mind will wander. I have to reread a paragraph because it's just mind numbing to me, but I have to do it. I got it. I'm sticking with it. I'm being disciplined. I'm sticking with it. And I could think of 2, maybe 3 times since January 1st that I went, holy crap. Like, you ever seen the movie The Neverending Story?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the kid's in the attic reading the book and he's like, are they talking to me? And he keeps reading. It's that feeling. It's went, okay, like we're getting somewhere now. And it'll be like that. Yes. It's that nugget of like, stick with it. I know you're reading this. Keep listening kind of thing. And it's exciting.
But faith development is the same as, working out. Like faith, you can't say that you are a faithful person if you've not been challenged, right? If you really haven't given reason to give up on it, like I read 3 chapters and I got nothing out of it, I'm closing this damn book. That would be you giving up and not having faith that there was more to the story because it didn't meet your standards on how quickly you should be giving what you're after.
Yeah.
Right? You got to suspend so if you think about it from the premise of how your neurons are firing, if you can do delayed gratification where you're not getting what you want when you want, what have you done? You've taken the ego part of your brain and that narcissist, what you think you should be and you're suspending it. What suspends it? The faith that this will all work out in the end. That is flexing and working on your faith muscles.
Yeah, it is interesting because I've talked many times about the fact that I've been working out consistently for months now. And I think when you start doing something, it's very hard for you to see the results. Like, I'm with myself every day. I see my body every single day. Every minute of every day, I'm with it. So a change does not come on as drastically to me as if I didn't see someone and they might make a comment or something. But I remember saying, and my trainer I work with too talks about discipline over motivation. You're not always going to have motivation. So you've got to maintain the discipline. And so even when I'm like, I'm not seeing anything, this isn't doing anything, but I do it anyways, because this is my Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing. I have to do it. And one day I remember I was talking to somebody and I gesture with my hands when I talk, and I was doing something with my arm like this. And I happened to touch my other arm and I went, and I could feel the muscles in my arm. And I went, and as I gestured, I could feel the cut and the muscle tone in my arm. And I went, oh my God, it's working. And I just, It's not something I could visibly see. It's not something I could see all the time. But in that moment, I could feel my muscle tone in my arm flex as I moved my arm. And I was like, all right, let's get back at it. And it's like that little like.
Now, do you think you have the
stick with it.
disciplines at this point that if you weren't given those nuggets and you didn't see that definition, that you would keep doing it anyway? Because Job was the absurd example of it, where he wasn't given any kind of nuggets that reassured him to keep going. He just had that blind. So he was like the faith rock star. If you wanted to take someone who exemplified what faith was, he did it in spite of all of the allegory suggests that he endured hardships without any fruit whatsoever.
Yeah, that would be tough. If I was still doing the readings every day and I was still lost and I got nothing, if I was making myself put my workout thing on and do it, and I still felt like I looked and felt the same way, that would be hard. Yeah. That would be hard to stick to.
Yeah.
If I saw zero improvement.
Okay. And I think you're spoken to in the language that you need to be spoken into, and you needed that at that time, where Job, he might have had faith so deep that he could be pushed beyond all limits and he knew they wouldn't give up. So giving him a reassurance in the middle of it might have been destructive. So everybody gets their own language when it comes to
kind of like, I love music and I'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh my God, this is the greatest song of all time. I love this song. And I'll be like, Joe, listen to this song. And you'll go, okay. And I'm like, how do you not feel that? Right. And you're like, it's not for me.
Yeah. Spirituality is a very individual thing. Very individual.
It's so cool.
Let's see. Neil deGrasse Tyson is an agnostic with all his knowledge about the universe. He admits he doesn't know. That is the most valuable thing of anything. Every once in a while, I'll get him trapped in making a definitive absolute statement in the middle of, I know no one could know what you're saying you think is the deal. But in most cases, I would say I give him 90% of the time, he's humble enough to say that this is theory, this is what I think, rather than this is what is. He's gotten very political lately. So a lot of his knowledge has been skewed by and biased by what he wants to be true rather than what is. I listen to a lot. His talks have gone from an academic to a pop culture deal. So he almost had to dumb it down to a certain point so he'd resonate with regular people. But when you do that, you make too many appeals to the pop culture, which means you don't want to alienate the people that are real skittish when it comes to saying something that they don't like hearing coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. So. I mean, he got into TV and entertainment, and it's
still cool listening to him. He's someone I respect, even if I don't agree with him on.
Oh, he's still everything. Like leaps and bounds smarter than me. So.
And then Dennis says, "Iron sharpens iron." Absolutely. And we all have to live with ourselves regardless of what sins are forgiven. Yep. And that is, again, the victim crowd likes to take the things that they've done and make themselves other people's fault. So you never really take an appreciation for what role you played in your own behaviors. And so you got a lot of people that are living sinful lives that don't feel like they've done anything wrong whatsoever. And that is the worst kind of devilish behavior, is when you've exonerated yourself from responsibility.
Yeah. It's like, this is it.
But that's what narcissists do.
Yeah.
I think we should go.
This
was the weirdest show we've all done. Here in the first half of the show, I'm murdering innocent people.
Yeah.
In the second half of the show, I'm talking about Satan and devil and people doing wrong things. I'm not connecting either of these two people, right? They're different.
That's kind of why when you say that, you believe in God and you think people should kind of give up the secular ways and follow religion. And I'm like, but you just said you would murder people in a heartbeat if you were threatened.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. So in the medieval times, you got the armor on, you got your big red cross, you're holding a sword, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think any of those soldiers for God killed anybody?
Yeah.
A couple people here and there. Yeah. Do you think that now they're burning in the depths of hell because they conquered on behalf of God?
No.
Okay, so what's different about them and me and my decay pit? I didn't do it for the sake of God. Like, I'm not going to kill the dad and his young daughter for the sake of, on God's behalf. Like, it's not a religious expression at all.
I don't know.
It feels like it's bad to kill people, right?
Non-threatening people.
Listen,
Like I said,
listen.
I'm showing up, and because I have nothing to offer, you're going to off me.
No, I put a sign out, so we wouldn't even have to have an interaction. The moose out front.
All right, as long as there's a sign.
The moose out front said, if you have nothing to offer, this is not a Motel 6. This is not refuge. This is not an encampment that wants you. If you show up at the gate, you better be ready to hand over what you're willing to contribute to the society. If not, you're going in the murder pit. Right? Then you chose that, right? I think some people will think they could talk their way through it and bullshit their way in and send, the Satan spawn child in so they can murder us at night. But in the end, the moose should have told you.
I'm going with out front. Is that National Lampoon's reference?
Yeah. So I repeated it 6 times.
Summer Vacation? Or National Lampoon's Vacation. Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about Wally World next time. That's
the Griswolds.
Listen, this was a dark show. Like I got no compunction. This was a dark show.
It was all dark.
It was
kind
my
of
part was
uplifting.
dark. You were the shining light in the dark world that I was trying to create. But still,
as usual.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you.